Oh, Dorenda, do you want to come forward now? Is that okay? Because Jim's not here yet. I mean, we're ahead of schedule a little bit, so. Thank you. And you've got two submissions, the LTP and the climate change strategy, is that right?
Respectfully, I think they are all one.
Yeah, and
I cannot prize them apart.
No, you don't need to prize them apart.
No.
But we'll just automatically throw it onto the 6 minute.
Yes, of course.
Is that right? Or the 10 minutes?
No, I've still got a limited time, less than 6 minutes as I understand it.
Restart, yeah, 6 minutes. She's going to do 3 minutes.
No, it says 5 minutes each. Yeah, so 10 minutes. Yeah. So you're at 10 minutes. So free flow.
All right. Thank you for the invitation today. I have had a look at Councillor Sarah Templeton and I had a conversation recently about aspirational business environment. And she suggested I submit to the plan, the long-term plan and the climate change strategy. My view is that they're both the same thing, that we need to look at the future as a system. And we need to create, as I said, an aspirational business environment that attracts a different kind of thinking to our New Zealand. We need to celebrate our difference. I think we feel that we're different in Christchurch, but we're not yet celebrating it and taking advantage of it. I want you to think about placing social, environmental and cultural as well as financial values at the core of business. I think that tells our story better than merely pumping up business to be successful. To help design robust businesses that embrace change and attract young people. And if we're designing a city, and I take on board all of the long-term planning, the necessary actions that you must take to maintain and grow a city, I do think if we look at the future generation, they might want something a little different. They might not require huge highways. They might not require the things that we currently think are important. So it's really, when we think about long-term planning, we need to think about the next generation. I spend a lot of my time mentoring young people. I only employ students from the University of Canterbury in my business. The reason I do that is because they keep me clear and focused on the future. I'm in my 70s, so I could never do that alone. And I'm aware of, and I'd like to set an example for you and use a story that I really like to tell, and that is of New Zealand's first B Corp. And it started in Christchurch. Do you know Eagle Protect? Does anyone know Eagle Protect? It's worth following up, actually, if you're interested. Steve Ardar set up a business to make, we used to call them rubber gloves, but to make synthetic gloves that we all need in surgery and in food production, all of that, and be a B Corp. Now, there's no harder task than that. To be a B Corp, to do good in the world and create synthetic protective equipment. He is now residing in the States. His business is run from Christchurch. He resides in the States and he is making it big time in the States. Why? Because he's set up around a set of values that reflect who we are in Christchurch and what we stand for. And he's not the cheapest brand on the planet. But he takes care of the production values, he takes care of the transportation, he takes care of employing people, he's the best employer I know of. All of those things reflect what I believe are our values. There are 50-something B Corps in New Zealand. We have about 3 times as many B Corps in New Zealand as Australia does nationally, and Christchurch was the first. And I would suggest that our front-facing organisations, our Christchurch NZ, look not only at the financial value of businesses or the technology value of businesses, but how we run our businesses. It is the best attractor we can we can create. It's the best wealth hook we can create in today's world. I do believe that Christchurch NZ and the super nodes are doing a good job. They're raising the profile of important business sectors. But success in New Zealand will not be about technology on its own, but how we apply it for the good of humanity. And I know this because I'm involved heavily in the tech industry in New Zealand. I've been a judge of the High Tech Awards for nearly 25 years nationally. I've been part of the Food and Fibre Challenge. You name it, I'm there. And so I witness that the winners will be those businesses who care, who are great employers, who care for the environment, and also and society, and care for the bottom line as well, of course. So in thinking about the long-term plan, I'm also thinking about the climate change strategy. And I'm thinking that businesses such as those who apply and obtain the B Corp rating, it's an international rating, can lead by example faster than any. It's a carrot, not a stick. And I believe we need carrots here, not sticks. If our business community do embrace social, environmental and financial values, the impact will spread to the communities they serve faster than anything else that we can do. By placing the design of caring businesses at the centre of our planning, we will more effectively bring together the minds we need to innovate and to mitigate the effects of climate change. Now, for someone who's involved in technology, involved and understands the aerospace space, understands the food space, it isn't just about technology. Once again, I say it's about how we apply it and the values that sit behind it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That's an incredibly valuable submission because it raises the whole issue of how Christchurch NZ reaches out to increase, sort of business opportunities here in Christchurch. Has anyone got any questions? Yanni.
Thank you. Thanks for the submission. I'd never heard of the B Corp, so I've just had a quick look, and it's really interesting.
Never heard of a B Corp? I'm shocked.
I'm embarrassed to say it. But I wonder whether, obviously, council's an organisation, not a company. But in terms of our companies that we do have as a council, do you think something we should be considering is how our companies can look at that certification?
I do. Better to demonstrate how it works as leaders than to oblige other people to do it without testing it yourselves. I think it's quite a process that you have to go through, but you can step through it. And it's good for business. And all the people I know who have set up B Corps are doing better now than they did beforehand. And it's opened doors. In the States with Steve Ardar, it's opened doors to him getting audiences that are unbelievable, that he wouldn't have got otherwise. So I think that it's time for Christchurch to wake up to the fact that we have a reputation for holding on to values, but we've not been able to articulate really and truly what those values are and build our businesses around them, and this is the time. I have to say that this is the work that I do. I teach businesses to do this, but this is not about me. This is about the big picture. And I only work toward the big picture. That's what gets me out of bed in the morning. So,
James.
Kia ora, Dorenda. Thanks for your submission. It has... I've got to say that it's enlightened me. So I was, along with Yanni, Googling B Corp as well after you mentioned it. How many are there in Christchurch? You must have said it, but I was Googling.
No, I didn't. Okay. I couldn't find the numbers in Christchurch, but I know of at least 6 in Christchurch. Even the online learning development company that I work with, doing online learning, is a B Corp. So it applies to all sorts of companies. If you can do it with making rubber gloves, You can do it for anything. Really, it's just how you approach it.
Well, as I say, it was really enlightening, and I wish you all the best. And I think, I don't know, I'm trying to phrase this into a question. Do you realise that you've reminded me, if not everyone else, that we've got to think of the future when we make these decisions. That's what I think you've brought to the table as well today. So thanks.
Thank you. I believe it.
Aaron.
Yeah, just at the start, Dorenda, when you said about employing only people from Canterbury Uni, what did you mean? So you only employ people that have been to uni, or if they're from a uni, only Canterbury?
No, at the moment I employ only students,
Right.
undergraduates or postgraduates. I live and work around the corner from the university. It's a relationship I value. I do a lot of work, MBA, engineering, across the university, and a lot of mentoring, volunteer mentoring. It's a thing that challenges me. I do it to challenge me.
Right. Yeah. Because with the Britten Institute and the dyslexic people and stuff, and John only having gone to night school and things, I thought you might be searching for those pockets of people that are genius but undeveloped, underperforming. Do you know what I mean? Like,
I do know what you mean. I didn't choose to talk about that today. It's another conversation.
Because those people are everywhere, but usually untapped.
Absolutely, and I would love to talk to you about that, because that's another thing that I'm working on, is giving opportunities to dyslexic people,
Right.
bringing them into teams, but that's another conversation,
Okay.
I'm afraid.
Cool.
But thank you very much, because that does wind us back to the connections between what we do as a council, what other agencies do, and how that links in with what the community does. So thank you very much. It's been a very enlightening submission. Thank you. And I overlooked Derek Roberts.